When it comes to satisfying your sweet tooth, nothing but a big bowl of ice cream will do. Others may prefer candy bars. Of course, a healthier alternative would be a naturally sweet piece of fruit. One thing's for sure, there's no shortage of sweet treats to choose from. To make the star of today's episode takes only a few minutes and can be considered an art because if done right, it can tantalize all your senses. But if anything goes wrong, it can end up tasting awful and unpalatable. It is rightfully called the food of angels. And unlike other flavorings, this one has been around for centuries. Caramel. Welcome. You're listening to TALRadio powered by Touch Alive Foundation. And this is Foodology. I'm radio host Devansh. And on this show, I talk about the enormous world of a little word called food. Caramel endured so much throughout history to become the food of angels. It is one of the most popular flavors in the world, enjoyed by people of all ages. The comforting taste and aroma of caramel fills you up with so much warmth and love. Oozing out of donuts, layered with chocolates, drizzled over ice cream, and even infused with vodka. We can't get enough of this stuff. Let me first break down the complexity of this ingredient with a simple question. What is caramel? In the simplest of words, caramel is an orange-brown confectionery product made by heating a range of sugars. It is made with butter, cream, and sugar. So it is an ideal flavoring for dairy products. Caramel products are widely used in bakery products like rolls, muffins, cakes, etc. To be precise, caramel is made by boiling sugar and water and then adding milk and fat while heating the mixture to approximately 245 degrees Fahrenheit and stirring continuously. Well, this is not the only way to make it. There are several different types of caramel that can be made using different types of sugars, milks, and fats. The characteristic look, taste, and smell of caramel occur when the mixture begins to burn, creating a golden brown substance that remains somewhat flexible. This precise heat gives caramel its chewy texture that results from the interaction of the sugar and milk and fat solids. A chemical reaction the scientists call the Maillard's reaction. North America is the leading market for caramel products, followed by Europe. The popularity of salted caramel products is very high due to its wide functional applications in all these regions. And Asia is expected to show significant growth in the upcoming years. Caramel gives every creation a premium appeal thanks to its upgraded taste profile, a unique Instagrammable golden color, and multiple ingredient combinations possible. Due to the rising trend of food decorations like topping with caramel are considered as one of the most important factors that is going to drive the market of global caramel market. Also, due to the increase in demand of caramel usage in ice creams and desserts, the bakery segment is considered to be one of the most important factor, which is going to increase the sales of the caramel market. The entire world of caramel is quite intriguing. A few minutes, a few ingredients, and boom, you have one of the most loved confection around the world. Since sugar is the key ingredient in making caramel, it's better if we take a look at sugar's history first to clearly understand the origins of caramel. When we think of caramel today, we usually have in mind a soft, creamy brown concoction made from sugar, butter, and cream. But as usual, to get to this preparation, a lot of travel was involved. There was so much more to it than just heating sugar and adding fat. The exact origins of caramel are disputed, but they can be traced along the storylines of sugar, which comes from sugarcane. Archaeological evidences points to sugarcane first being grown domestically some 10,000 years ago in New Guinea. Over the years ahead, this plant slowly made its way up through trade, through the islands of Indonesia, and finally arrived in India. In ancient India, it was termed as shakar, which has many written records in books of Ayurveda, which is an ancient Indian practice of medicine. Around 1 AD, Indians had developed a method to refine sugar and crystallize it, which was not exactly like the sugar which we eat today, but somewhat similar. It was termed as khand. In fact, the words sugar and candy are derived from these ancient words of shakkar and khand. The mingling of sugar from east with people from the west takes place when Alexander the Great invaded India. The Westerners were surprised to see a commodity that was sweet and was not the same as the extensive and hard process of harvesting honey, which was primarily the sweetener used by people. One of Alexander's officers, Nearchus, wrote that there is a reed in India which brings forth honey without the help of bees, from which an intoxicating drink is made. The real turning point came when Arab traders discovered sugarcane and began to cultivate it in the Middle East and North Africa during the 11th and 12th centuries. By the 15th century, the first sugarcane plantations had been established in Central America, and Europeans began to develop a passion for sugar. Although sugarcane became more available, it remained expensive because of the distances involved in transporting it. Anyways, back to the Arabs. They have always been noted for their love of sweets. Kurat al-Mil was the name they gave to a sticky product extracted from thickened cane syrup, which was possibly a developmental stage in the history of caramel. In the 11th century, the Crusaders returned to Europe with accounts of mouth-watering sugar-based sweets and desserts which were served at weddings and religious celebrations. On the other side of the world, around 1650, in Americas, they were recorded for having cooked up sugar to become hard candies. And here we begin to see the development of two distinct types of caramel preparations, the hard one and the soft chewy one. Many developments took place over time, where people experimented with multiple ingredients, different types of sugars, different temperatures, varying fats, and whatnot. This gave way to the creation of hundreds of desserts we know today, which use caramel as one of their ingredients, like creme caramel, nougat, brittles, toffees, etc. Not all caramel is created equal. The longer the sugar cooks, the darker the color and the richer the flavor gets. And pretty much every stage has a different application. It takes a lot of practice to get caramel to the exact color and temperature you want. So you have to keep a watchful eye. Use a light colored pot, and you must never walk away for a quick little Instagram check, because sugar can go from clear to black in just seconds. When creating caramel, there are typically two different versions: wet caramel and dry caramel. Wet caramel refers to caramel that has been made by adding water to the sugar during the heating process. Adding water can help to distribute heat evenly across the mixture to prevent burning and crystallization. Dry caramel, on the other hand, simply refers to sugar which is caramelized without the addition of water. It is very helpful to have a candy thermometer to monitor the rising temperature, but it is also as important to use your eyes and your nose. The color and the aroma of sugar mixture will tell you what stage you're at and when you need to stop cooking. This is a widely known fact that working with sugar is one of the hardest parts of working in any form of kitchen establishment. And at home, with the lack of professional equipment and sometimes knowledge, sugar can be a real nightmare. It can be fussy, it can clump, it can burn, seize, or crystallize. And instead of caramel, you may end up with twice the amount of dirty dishes, especially the ones with crystallized sugar on them. But does that mean we should kill our caramel cravings? No. You may not know this, but caramel has a few cousins. One of those cousins is friendly and easy to work with. She's reliable and she's not a drama queen like sugar. It's butterscotch. Yes, just like caramel, butterscotch is also cooked sugar. The main difference is that butterscotch is made with brown sugar instead of white sugar. The traditional butterscotch recipe calls for butter to be melted with brown sugar to start with, and once the mixture becomes more of a liquid, cream is added and the ingredients are boiled again until it reaches the optimal temperature. You should give butterscotch a chance. You may not miss caramel and you definitely won't miss the stress you would have endured trying to make it. Another one of caramel's cousins is Dolce de leche. This one is not so closely related but has some similarities. You would have watched TLC or Food Network channels and seen so many chefs work with Dolce de leche, but you had no clue what this was because it looks exactly like a thick, creamy caramel. Well, Dolce de leche is similar to caramel and comes from sweetened milk, such as condensed milk. When this condensed milk is heated, the sugar in the milk becomes caramelized and transforms into the sweet golden brown color with a deeply decadent flavor. Dolce de leche is originally from Latin America, but is now popular in Europe, America, and other parts of the world. The word is a Spanish word and means candy made from milk. A new study from the University of Florida has found that we scoff something sweet, salty, or fatty, the brain releases heroin-like chemicals called endogenous opioids. But salted caramel is a mixture of all of these three, making the effects even more extreme. Scientists tested salted caramel on 150 participants. They found that eating salted caramel caused a phenomenon called hedonic escalation. This is where our brain keeps craving more and more with every mouthful because we detect new flavors with each bite. Hedonic escalation is more likely to occur when a palatable food consists of complex combination of flavors, and a person is motivated to taste additional flavors on each successive bite. Caramel is technically sugar and fat. Sugar in moderation is not harmful. However, many people overdo it, especially in the form of caramel candies. A recent study suggests that Americans eat far too much sugar. To be specific, approximately 75% of Americans eat excess amounts of sugar, many of whom could be classified as having a sugar addiction. Eating sugar releases opioids, dopamine, and serotonin, which are happy hormones in our bodies. This is the link between added sugar and addictive behavior. That is why caramel feels so indulging and satisfying. Once someone mentally connects sugar with providing energy, they may become dependent upon it. People may begin to crave sugar to balance irritability, emotional lows, and other conditions. At this point, there is often little control over dietary habits and a sugar addiction has developed. A particularly worrisome aspect of sugar addiction is binge eating. Binge eating can be defined as eating too much or too rapidly followed by feelings of guilt, shame, and disgust. This can include focus on sweets for the same mood-regulating and self-medicating effects. When you select natural sources of sugar, they usually include healthy nutrients alongside their sweet counterparts. Dairy products, fruits, and veggies all provide natural sugars, in addition to fiber, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and hydration. You can indulge in all the natural sweets you want without creating unhealthy insulin spikes. Sugar isn't a health food, but you need to realize that it's also not the evil poison that it is sometimes made out to be. While most of us could stand to have less of it, it's perfectly fine to have a little bit. So go ahead and enjoy your occasional sweet treat without a side of guilt. Because, like I've mentioned in all my episodes, moderation is the key. It would be unfair to assume that a confection so closely intertwined with human society isn't given any form of recognition. National Caramel Day. It is a special event on April 5th, dedicated to this rich, gooey, and tasty treat that is made up using the deliciously dark alchemy of the culinary arts. The best part about National Caramel Day is that it gives just about anyone an excuse to put this wonderful treat on anything they can think of. This day is the day that can be celebrated by sharing treats with friends, family, and co-workers alike. You can maybe prepare little bags of caramel treats to share it with your work colleagues or friends, with little cards inside talking about the history of this delectable treat. Even better, perhaps add in a recipe for them to try making their own caramel treats at home. Caramel really does go wonderfully with just about anything, so feel free to be adventurous and tour into the experimental world. Caramel is extremely versatile as a topping. It's able to go on top of any form of fruit, be they pears, peaches, or traditional apples. Even better, to use this treat as a topping for ice cream or banana split. One other treat that it goes best with is apple pie. Create this by mixing some caramel into the apple filling and then drizzle the top with rich, creamy, delicious caramel sauce. Even then, if you don't feel like doing anything, the industry leaders have got your back. Order some caramel chocolate from the wondrous array of brands, or indulge yourself into a salted caramel ice cream, snuggled up watching your favorite TV show. It's totally up to you. The experimentation of people of the past truly paid off, and I'm glad that it developed into what it is today. Caramel isn't just a sweet, it's an escape to euphoria. Thank you so much for sticking around with me on this episode of Foodology. I had an incredible time talking to you. This is radio host Devansh signing off. Hope you have a beautiful and a magical day ahead. See you soon.